Hi everyone, it's Ailin here, back for another Q&A video. So bear with me because I don't know what the sound is going to be like for this video. My battery for my microphone finally died. I've had it for like over a year now, just filming videos, regularly, but I had to die, so I definitely have to get it replaced before our next Q&A video. But I thought I'd turn on the camera today. I found a little bit of time to sneak in to answer some questions, and yeah, let's get started with that, shall we? Okay, so some of these questions are from like a while back, and I apologize for that, but I get so many questions each day that I try to answer and try to get back to you guys, but better late than never, and I'm really focused on putting out videos each week to address all your questions, so I'm doing my best here, guys. Okay, so this is the first question. Love all your videos. Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us. I recently got a puppy, so I'm curious as to what you feed yours. Thank you in advance. Okay, so I know probably a lot of you follow me on Instagram and you see that I have a dog named Luna. And she's, I actually don't know what breed she is exactly, but I think that we were told that she was some kind of terrier mix. So she's like a pretty decently sized dog, around 48 pounds. And when we first got her, she was a rescue, by the way. I suppose she would eat like, just a standard diet. Not really standard. We actually heard from her previous owners that she was fed pretty poorly. She was fed rice. Sometimes she didn't eat. They couldn't even afford dog food for her, things like that. And I'm sure she had some meat here and there, but she came from like, a family that couldn't afford to really feed her. So when we first got her about, I would say about a year and a half ago now, we really didn't know how to feed a dog. It was the first time I had ever owned a dog. So I was just feeding her like the best quality dog food that you could find at Petco or PetSmart, just a regular pet food store. And so I would feed her like this salmon dog food, and we had her on that for a while. But what I noticed was for her type of breed, like a terrier mix, she would get things like acne and skin issues. She would get it under her belly, redness, itchiness. She would get like little boils, and it would really bother her, and she would constantly lick on it, and she would also get like these heat rashes in between her in between her toes on her paw. So that's when I was really thinking, like, what if maybe a dog can follow a vegan diet and maybe her health issues would improve. So then that's when I looked into a vegan diet for a dog, and then that's when I started to slowly incorporate more fresh foods, like fresh fruits and vegetables, plus having her her regular meals. But then at the same time, at that time I wasn't able to really cook large amounts of food for her every single day to just give her fresh food. So then I pretty much transitioned her to a 100% vegan dog food mix that I just got from the pet food store, and then she stood many months with that vegan dog food, and her skin completely cleared up. It was pretty amazing. She seemed happier, she seemed quicker on her feet, and like her energy was boundless. Even with eating dog food, her energy became even more apparent. And anytime we went to the dog park, the other owners of the dogs would be like, wow, your dog is really energetic, how old is she? And then we would tell her, like, she's like 2.5, 3 years old, and they're like, wow, she acts like a newborn puppy, so much energy. So yeah. And then it was when someone close to me, my fiance's mom, one of her dogs got like tumors and was becoming increasingly diseased, and poor thing, that's when I kind of got a scare, so to speak, because I knew what the right diet for a dog was, which is 100% raw or predominantly raw foods, because I know that animals in nature, they never eat their foods cooked. They're always eaten raw. So with that mentality, I was like, you know, let me take the steps necessary in order to wean her off of the processed dog foods. Even though it's vegan, it's still processed, and move towards a 100% plant-based diet of fresh foods, right? Because even though that food is vegan, it's still processed, it's still dead. You know, it was made up of a lot of grains, too much protein, you know. And as a detox specialist, I'm more of a detox specialist for humans, you know, that's my area of expertise. But I slowly got into, you know, learning more about detoxifying dogs. And I began to realize through looking at my dog's eyes, through looking at other dogs' eyes, I noticed, because iridology is the same when it comes to dogs as well and cats as well. You can look at their eyes, and if there's like certain lesions in certain areas, it means that they have problems in specific organs. So I saw my dog's eyes, I saw a lesion, you know, right through the kidneys, and then, you know, that's when I learned about how dogs, their genes have been getting weaker and weaker, just like humans. This is why dogs are also getting the same diseases as humans are getting, such as cancer, such as diabetes, tumors, what have you, arthritis. You know, our dogs are getting the same diseases that we are getting because we're feeding them such, you know, processed foods that's not in their design to eat. Now, this comes into the topic and into the realm of whether a dog is a carnivore, an omnivore, you know, what have you. If they're meant to eat a vegan diet, I'm a firm believer that dogs can eat whichever diet. It depends on the dog. Now, some dogs do very well with vegan diets, and others might not feel so good. So then that's when I would recommend, you know, giving a dog, perhaps, you know, you can feed them a lot of fruits and vegetables. I recommend that for every single dog. You can feed a dog either carnivore diet, omnivore diet, or a plant-based diet. It just depends on the dog. If you notice a dog start to feel not so good perhaps on a vegan diet, then you can include maybe some raw meat about once or twice a week, just so they can feel a little sustained. But with my dog personally, I just saw her flourish with the vegan diet. I saw her achieve healthy weight, because she was gaining a bit of weight, you know, around the midsection hip area, and for her particular species, you definitely want to see more of like a narrow and shaped waist for her. So we took her to the vet and everything. They said that she was perfectly healthy, so I decided to keep her on that diet. But yeah, more or less how I feed her nowadays is definitely 100% vegan, definitely 100% fresh foods that we cook for her. So it'll vary each day. Some days she'll eat more to a raw diet, you know, eating a lot of fruits, eating a lot of raw veggies, you know, carrots, broccoli, celery, you know, apples, mangoes, watermelon. She loves watermelon, even bits and pieces of oranges and berries. Sometimes I make her smoothies. She likes pretty much all those different types of foods. But then some days when I feel like she wants, you know, something a little more heavy, then I'll give her some cooked foods like sweet potatoes or yellow potatoes. Sometimes I'll cook her up some carrots. And then other days, not all the time, because like we said before, with the proteins, I find increasingly that dog foods out there have too much protein, and then with dogs with their genetic kidney weaknesses that we see going on, this is the reason why dogs are becoming increasingly sicker and they get the cancers and the tumors, is because their kidneys are not filtering just like humans. And when you add protein into that mix, then that just further burdens the kidneys and burns them out. So I do believe that dogs need more protein than humans do because of their you know, their past of eating meat. They're descended from dogs, wild dogs, wolves, what have you. But then I also feel like they've become very socialized. Their diets are kind of up in the air because they're not wild animals. You know, we've had them as pets for many centuries alongside humans, you know. So I feel like they can kind of go wherever with that. So then for my particular, you know, pet, I feed her tofu, organic tofu sometimes, organic chickpeas, but it's in small amounts, you know. It's not like 50% of her diet or 30% of her diet, you know. Within like the same dish, it would be anywhere from 10 to 20% if I included, but I always make sure to feed her more vegetables than fruits, just to sustain her. But then I do find that there's a lot of benefits to the fruits, because just like with humans, when you increase the fruits in a dog's diet, they feel happier, more energetic, their elimination is better, their skin improves. Also to mention, dogs also get detox symptoms. So your dog may feel, you know, fatigued if you transition it to a raw detox diet. They may get skin outbreaks, because as the acids start loosening up and then the mucus starts loosening up in their colon, then they start to expel it. And this is what I saw with my dog. When I was giving her, you know, herbal tinctures, you know, for the kidneys, for her adrenal glands, for her endocrine glands, for the lymph system, I started to notice, plus the change in diet, you know, with the watermelons and the oranges, I started to notice mucus in her stools. I started to notice her stools had thick mucus around her stools, just like in humans with mucoid plaque. Once we see that mucoid plaque come out of the colon, that's caking the colon and preventing us from absorbing full nutrition from our foods, that's decaying the colon, that's suffocating all the cells because they're no longer able to, you know, interact with the foods that we eat to be able to absorb them, you know. The cells start to suffocate and decay. So this is what I saw with my dog. It detox symptoms as she got cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. And then whenever I would feed her too much of the heavy foods, she didn't like that. She started becoming sluggish. She started to break out again, you know. Same thing with humans. Once we start consuming very light foods that make us feel good, we kind of don't want to go back to the way that we used to eat, because that way is what you know, created obstructions in our body and made us feel not so good. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would say, like with your dog, if you want to transition her nicely, I would do so slowly, because dogs are creatures of habit, and they feel a lot of stress if you disrupt their routine like very drastically. So I would slowly transition her. Kind of like how I told you I transitioned my dog, I would do the same thing with her, and then be very aware of how she's feeling, how she's acting with this new diet, and then just, you know, make the tweaks where you see, and it should be good. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so thank you very much for your question. It was pretty awesome. Thank you. I had been wanting to talk about that for a long time. Okay, so this is the second question, guys. I am watching you on YouTube now for weeks. I have exactly the same problem that you had with fibromyalgia. I have pain and headache all the time. I really suffer from so much, and I am tired. When I was watching you and you explained about your pain, I was surprised because I thought I am the only person who suffers from so much pain. But you give me hope, not because you had the same pain as me, but because you healed yourself, which is amazing. Yeah, thank you. As you know, doctors cannot do anything, just give us a lot of medicine, which makes you more sick. Congratulations to you, and I'm so happy for you. God bless you for all the information. You are so lovely and kind. You have a good heart. Oh, thank you so much. I started to eat only fruits and vegetables. Awesome. Sometimes I do juicing too. I don't know how long will it take to feel any better. The headache is the worst. I have it every day. Any suggestion for headaches? Thank you very much for everything. Love, Mazameth. By the way, I'm from Canada. Oh, awesome. I have a lot of clients from Canada. I know, like, it seems like a lot of people from Canada are very health conscious and very aware, and yeah, I love that. I absolutely love it. I kind of wish that the US was a little more like that, but you know, the numbers are increasing every single day of people becoming more and more aware. A lot of people in the UK too are very aware of their health as well, so that's really fantastic. So yeah, like, like you said, I had fibromyalgia. I'm sure a lot of you know my story. And when it comes to detox, it's not a walk in the park. Remember, we're not trying to heal disease or any type or diseases the same way that medical thinking addresses illnesses. You don't ever want to address an illness from a medical standpoint, like take this drug to feel better immediately. You know, it doesn't work like that, because it took many years for you to get to this point with fibromyalgia, with a lot of pain and with a lot of fatigue. It took years and years of buildup of eating the wrong foods. At the same time, you also have to look at your family. You know, more often than not, you know, if you're a young person, like in your 20s or maybe late teens or maybe early 30s, that's the prime age of getting things like fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. I see it all the time. So then you have to realize that your parents passed down weak genes to you that created this fibromyalgia condition. Now, they may not have gotten fibromyalgia, not yet, because oftentimes I see the parents or the great-grandparents, they get diseases a lot later on in life than their offspring, you know. But you definitely want to go all out as much as possible in your detox, because you have to heal these genetic weaknesses that they've passed down onto you. Like I was saying before, your parents may not have fibromyalgia, but they may have Lyme's, or they may have arthritis, or they may have depression, or they may have skin issues, or they may have fatigue, or they may have, you know, a ton of different things. Different diseases, they just point to specific organs and glands being down in the body. And so, like, for example, if you have fibromyalgia, you have weak adrenal glands, but a lot of diseases are caused by weak adrenals. You see what I mean? So you would have to really dig deep into your detox to heal genetic weaknesses, because those are the areas that you're going to see, especially in your eyes, that are the darkest, that are like, you know, dips and dips in between the mountains. That's tissue decay, and it's going to be the hardest to heal fully, but it can be done. All it takes is time, you guys, you know, time and patience. I always say it only takes a blink of an eye to heal an illness compared to the span of time that it took to create it. So I think you're doing great. Fruits and vegetables, amazing. But as far as you getting your headaches all the time, there's certain detox tools that you can implement with in your detox journey. So like for headaches, that's an upper head issue, right? A lot of congestion in the head. So what I would do is I would look into like doing ear candling, anything to relieve the pressure in the head. So like with ear candling, you can go to a place that they know how to do it. They use natural candles, you know. I would do 1 or 2 candles per ear, and you wouldn't believe the gunk that comes out of your ears. I know a lot of people may not believe in ear candling, but you know, from what I've seen with working with clients, they say that it works amazingly at relieving headaches and pressure and sinus issues and even vision problems or any type of pain in the head or pressure. They say that they feel immediate improvement. So I still recommend it, you know. So you can do that. You can also address the colon, because the head is right on top of the colon, remember guys. So you have to clean out the colon in order for the head to start draining, because the colon is another main channel of elimination that the body is able to, you know, detox and heal with. So you want to open up all the channels of elimination with fibromyalgia. So it's not enough to do the diet. The diet is the basis. You want to do the diet because you want to start alkalizing the body and hydrating it with the foods, with the chemistry you interact every single day. That's the first part. But then the second part is you want to have the right herbs for your genetic weaknesses, like I spoke about previously, that, you know, working with a detox specialist, they'll be able to tell you what genetic weaknesses and what organ weaknesses you have that's contributing to your illness. Now that's the second one. The third one is detox tools. So ear candling, you can do neurolymphatic massage, which pretty much, I have an article about neurolymphatic massage on my website. I'll put the link in the description box below so you guys can check it out. But pretty much it's a massage that helps drain the head and the back, and it brings all the mucus and obstructions and acids from the top portions of the body down to the kidneys. So you're able to eliminate and achieve kidney filtration faster. Now with kidney filtration, that's a big one. Fibromyalgia is caused by interstitial lymphatic constipation, which means you are backed up lymphatically from head to toe. The lymphatic system is the main system that we want to address when healing fibromyalgia or when healing lupus or Lyme's or arthritis, because people with fibromyalgia feel pain, they feel burning, they feel different random pains, nerve pain, muscle pain, achiness, fatigue, tiredness all the time because of major acidosis in the body. The lymphatic system is meant to always be free flowing to take care of these acids, because all the cells in your body poop and waste are acidic in their chemistry and nature, and acids always burn the tissues. Acids always create inflammation and pain. So your job to heal fibro is to get rid of all these acids from your body and make sure that your lymph system is not sluggish any longer. You want it to be constantly moving and pumping to do its job, right? So with fibro, you have to eat astringent fruits. Oranges, watermelons, berries, grapes are the top ones. I recommend you eat those foods as much as possible. Later on, you might have to get into fasting to dig deeper. Like I said before, I don't know your exact case, but I do know that some people really need to dig into fasting in order to heal their issues. But then some people can't handle fasting too much, so they have to do it, like all fruit diet or all raw diet, or they can work back and forth with that depending on their level of adrenal weakness, their level of fatigue. If they have blood sugar issues, blood pressure issues, things like that will affect what the diet protocol looks like for the person. But yeah, you want to do all those detox tools that I mentioned, definitely. And then that will take care of your headaches, because you never want to suppress a headache. If it's too unbearable during your detox and you're seeing it as a huge detox symptoms. Now, like personally for me, when I was healing my fibro, I remember one night I got the worst intense headache of my life. It was so unbearable, and it was actually, I think I was on day 8 of an all watermelon juice fast. I think I was on day 8, and I was in New York, taking a trip to New York from Philadelphia, and it was just really intense because with that travel, and then I was staying the night at a place that had pets, and at the time I was really allergic to pets, and I was in the middle of a fast, and I had adrenal weakness and all that stuff. It was just too many acids being stirred up all at once that my body just blew up with a headache. So at that time, many years ago, I had to take a pain reliever. I had to, because it was such a splitting headache like I had never experienced in my entire life, that I had to take something to suppress it. Keep in mind, I hadn't taken a single medication in like 10 years up until that point, because I strongly, was opposed to taking any type of drugs, like not even for my period. If I got pains there, I would always I could handle it, like I was a trooper, right? But there are times that you may have to do that. But if you get to that point, it's because you've pushed it a little too much. You want to maybe slow down a little bit with your entire approach to your diet if you have like a headache every single day, for example. But then you have those two choices. You can either dig deeper and be stricter and try and just relieve all the congestion from your head with the diet and detox tools, or sometimes you may have to slow it down. It's up to you. You want to experiment, because everyone will feel differently that way. Because like detox is the same for everyone, but everyone has different weaknesses, so everyone will respond differently and everyone's protocol will look different. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that helped answer your question. There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to detox, and I try to give the best suggestions based on what you guys tell me, the information that you tell me. So it can be a little difficult because I don't know that much, right? So but if you guys are going to send your questions, then give me as much information as you can. Obviously don't make it like pages long, but do try to include, you know, certain like vitals or you know, other health issues that you may be experiencing, things like that, so I can piece the puzzle pieces together. So thank you so much, Mazame from Canada. Okay, let me take a little orange juice break. Oh guys, I've been so busy. It's like, I don't know, like detox work is pretty much my life, and I love it, but I've always been someone that's like a big perfectionist and a really hard worker, and I have like a really strong drive to spread this healing message, to help people heal, to, you know, work on myself as well, because I want this to be a flourishing career. I just want to share all my knowledge as much as I possibly can, because like I said in the previous video, like if I wasn't doing this, I would be depressed. Definitely I would be depressed, because I've never ever, like, you know, like how when you're in high school or college, you kind of like certain subjects, but you really don't have like this one career dream job that meets all your criteria on like your perfect dream job list, you know what I mean? And with this detox specialist career, that it just meets all of my criteria. I'm helping the world, I'm helping myself, I'm helping humanity. I finally, you know, like I have always been like poor all throughout my life, and with this detox, because I've been like slowly, you know, for like the past 15 years, I've been gaining so much knowledge about natural healing and health, because it was always my passion, but it just never felt right with the timing. It never felt right with the schooling that I wanted to go to. Like there were certain things that I never agreed with, like, you know, eating meat, eating dairy. I never fully agreed with any of their methods, like Ayurveda or Chinese medicine, or, you know, the paleo diet or whatever, like, you know, what they teach in those schools. I never fully agreed with it. So for the first time with detox, it finally just clicked. It all made sense. And then when I experienced it myself firsthand, completely healing my incurable illness, then I was like, wow, this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I'm meant to, you know, dedicate 110% of my time in, to help people heal. And it's definitely paid off, because let me tell you, it's really amazing. There's people that have come to me saying, I owe my life to you, Ailin. I owe my life to you because of the information that you teach, because you were my detox coach. You were the greatest detox coach that I could have ever hoped for. I come from a place of a lot of compassion, because I've been there, and I know, like, I've been through hell. I've been in that deep hole, you know, and I'm honestly surprised that I survived. And I know so many of you out there, you have survived so much. The stories that I hear through the consultation calls with you guys, it's just heartbreaking. But I know that there's a strong warrior spirit in all of you, and you are going through this for a reason. You're meant to blossom into who you truly are with detoxification, and you'll definitely get there. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Okay guys, so here's the third question. And I get these questions from the comments that you guys leave under YouTube videos or under Instagram, or, you know, through email, things like that. If you guys send me a question and say, I want this to be featured in a video, then, you know, I'll definitely include it in the list. Okay, so third question is, this is absolutely amazing. Are there any showings in the eye that show about parasites, Candida overgrowth, and SIBO? Okay, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, I believe that stands for. Okay, so no, there aren't specific signs in your eyes that show this person has parasites or this person has Candida for sure. but there are certain signs that can show, okay, this person may have this because the environment looks conducive to that, you know, being in their body, right? So for parasites, if you see someone with a very toxic colon in the eye, now the colon is right around the pupil of the iris. Now, you'll see like a circle going around the middle of the pupil. And then for people that have severe stomach issues, you'll see the stomach sign, right? And then you'll see another circle around that stomach wall, and then that's the colon wall. Now for someone that has a healthy colon, you will not see that first circle. You'll only see the colon wall, right? But it's really important because it's within that second circle. If it's really dark, if there's black lesions going through, if there's a lot of darkness than the rest of the eye, then that person has a very toxic colon. It is especially toxic when you start to see radii solaris, which is dark, deep lesions of toxicity going up into the brain area or pretty much anywhere else in the eye, particularly down, either up or down, is really common. More often than not, this is from my experience, guys, with helping you detox, the people that have radii solaris, I usually always see them expel parasites when they start to detox. When they start to fast, when they start taking the herbs, the parasites will just start coming out of them through their stools. And don't worry, they're usually dead. I've only ever heard of one instance where one was alive and like I didn't even know that person. They always come out dead because the herbs kill them. So that's one sign for parasites. Now for Candida overgrowth and SIBO, here's the thing. With Candida, the optimal environment is one that has a lot of sulfur in it, or lymphatic congestion. Now, this will look differently between two eye colors. In nature, there's only two true eye colors when someone is completely detoxed. You will either see a nice, clear blue eye, very apparently blue, or you'll see a nice brown eye, maybe like a medium brown or a light brown. Dark brown eyes are usually a sign of toxicity. You know, so if someone has eyes that look black, it usually means that they have a lot of major toxicity. Their eye would turn more brown through detox, right? Now I've seen people comment on previous videos, oh, well, my daughter has green eyes, or my granddaughter has green eyes, or, oh, Irish people have green eyes. That's just how they are. I've never ever seen a green eye, a truly green eye. Whenever I'm examining eyes that people say, okay, I have green eyes, what do I see? I see little hints of blue peeking through underneath what looks like white lymphatic congestion, like clouds over the blue eye. And I also see drug deposits, like hints of brown or hints of yellow or orange. A lot of the times people have a lot of orange in the middle of their eye, which is sulfur drug deposits. Prime environment for candida issues and fungal issues. And then usually I'll also see green eyes are like blue eyes turning brownish, orangey-ish in color, and that's lymphatic stagnation, is when you start to see the brown. Although those eyes, blue mixed with brown, are more hazel eyes. So hazel eyes and green eyes, when that person starts to detox, then it'll turn blue. That's what we always see. And whenever I've had clients that have had green eyes, they usually tell me, well, I was actually born with blue eyes, or like that'll be one thing. They were usually born with blue eyes that turn more green or turn more brown later on, or they come to me with green eyes, they start to detox, and we start to see them change into more blue. That happens all the time. So like when I say there's only two true eye colors in nature, I don't mean any offense to it. It's just science. It's just how I see it with iridology and as a detox specialist, because being a detox specialist and being an iridologist is like the perfect combination, because either one of them separate, like if you're just a detox specialist that doesn't use iridology, you're missing out on a lot of tools that could help people, because with iridology you see everything. Now if you're just an iridologist with no detox knowledge, all you can do is just read the signs of the iris, but you can't help anyone heal. You know, you can't physically cause the eye to change with giving the correct recommendations, because there's iridologists out there that do not give the right recommendations, that recommend cooked foods, that recommend meats, that recommend proteins, that recommend supplements like, oh, take isolated calcium, take isolated iron for this health issue. That never ever results in any healing with and I honestly don't understand why some iridologists recommend that, because with iridology, it's all about looking at the health of the glands and organs. So it would make sense to support those organs in their healing by giving them powerful herbs to regenerate them, to clear all the congestion away, because an isolate, like a vitamin isolate, will not do that. It would actually create imbalance in the body. So yeah, that's my little tidbit there, but I guess those would be the two signs of parasites and of Candida. Really, really great question, and I definitely want to make another iridology video soon for you guys. I use examples, like for my iridology lesson videos, I use like just at random, if I find a case particularly interesting that I'm working on of a client's, then I'll use that one. I never mention a name though. But if I see like very distinct iris signs that I feel like, yeah, a lot of people should know about this, then I make a video about it. And I do have quite a few eyes, so I'm gonna try and get to making those videos for you guys, because I know you guys love them so much. So question number 4. How many grapes do I need to do a grape fast? Answer is as many as you'd like. When it comes to fasting and detox in general, it's a very intuitive thing. This is not a diet of restriction, nor is it a diet of eating as much as you want, pigging out till you're like super fat and bloated and heavy. It's not like that. It's about eating just enough, but maybe leaving just a little bit of emptiness in your stomach so you don't overstuff the body. Because I always find that if you leave just a little bit of room before you're overly stuffed, that the body detoxes a lot better that way. Because with digestion, I get a lot of people that come to me with digestive issues, and they're always asking me, how much should I eat? Well, if you eat too much, what happens is the body isn't able to really break down your foods, and then you experience a lot of fermentation, especially from sugars. I see this a lot with people with adrenal gland weakness and pancreas weakness, because those are the glands and organs responsible for carbohydrate digestion and utilization. So like most of you that are watching this have adrenal gland weakness from the get-go, because this generation is just full of that, which is why people require coffee and stimulants just to get through the day, and why so many people suffer from fatigue issues. But and pancreas, some people have that. It tends to be a bit common in genetic lines that have diabetes or blood sugar issues or malabsorption issues. They usually have a pancreas weakness. So that's when we start to see a lot of fermentation, and these are the cases that I would not recommend. Do not eat a lot, right? Always leave a little bit of space. But when it comes to grape fast, one of my very first fasts was a grape fast. It is an amazing fast to kickstart your healing, to dig deeper into your healing, to become more serious in your healing, because it is a lymphatic buster. It moves the lymph system, it gets the sinuses draining. I absolutely love grapes, and for all cancer cases I recommend a grape fast. But yeah, for grapes, I mean, I always recommend for most people to eat smaller meals more often. So during a fast, you may want to not focus on breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but rather maybe like 5 or 6 small meals a day. Anytime throughout the day, if you feel a little hungry, just take a handful of grapes and eat it, you know, and then that's it. Your digestion is nice. That was easy to digest. Fruits are the easiest to digest. Fruits should be digested fully within 30 minutes, and then you're supposed to go to the bathroom within an hour. In someone that has amazing digestion. Now, that's not often the case. People who are sick, their colons are all, you know, very congested. The stomach, it has lesions, has degeneration. So that's why I always recommend don't overstuff yourself. You're already dealing with digestive weaknesses to begin with. And then for people that, you know, they initially go on a fruit diet and they say, I'm always bloated, I'm always tired, it's because of that. It's because they overeat. So yeah, I would just recommend see how you feel and eat whenever you feel hungry. And if you don't feel hungry, don't eat. You know, it's intuitive. And just like in nature, like with other animals and other species, they eat when they're hungry and they don't eat when they're not hungry. Okay, so that was a good question. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, number 5. Hey, I've been watching some of your videos and reading some articles on your blog. Thank you. I want to improve my overall health for my overall well-being. I've been eating more raw foods, fruits and salads. I've cut out meat and chicken, and I eat seafood only when I have to, family events, etc. I did the same thing many years back when I started thinking more of trying to switch to a vegetarian or vegan diet. I always knew that I definitely wanted to follow that diet for the rest of my life. It just came down to social situations, or like, you know, when I was still living with my family, it was very difficult having a fridge full of you know, non-vegan items. So as to not create a lot of tension, or as to not call too much unwanted, like, oh, she's a weirdo attention on myself, then I pretty much was a pescatarian for many years. And then whenever I went to a restaurant, the only option at regular restaurant places, it's usually a seafood option. That's the lightest option because they don't ever have like meals that don't have meat in them, you know. So that was always my go-to option back in the day. So I know where you're coming from. I did not go through the SAD, Standard American Diet, and I've been taking a few herbs for a year, not every month though. Where I live at the moment, however, has few variety of fruits in my opinion. Most are really expensive and it's a little difficult for me to go completely raw. My question, however, concerns inorganic fruits and fruits with pesticides. Is it pointless to venture into this diet if the foods have chemicals, etc.? Sorry for the long comment. You don't have to apologize. This is a really good question. So it's important to do your best. Now, I really feel for the people that can't, you know, that don't have the best access to a variety of fruits and vegetables in their area, but that doesn't mean that you still can't detox, because I've helped people detox with even like the crappiest foods, like from you know, not that Walmart has crappy foods, but you know, it doesn't really have like organic foods all the time, or a great variety, or you know, there's some places in the world that just don't have that variety, or even organic fruits, because that's not important to, you know, like the market that they're shopping at, which is unfortunate. But so I would answer this question in 2 ways. Number 1, you have to remember that fruits are self-cleansing. So when you're eating the fruits, you're constantly cleansing your body, especially if it's astringent foods. And then number 2, for non-organic fruits versus organic fruits, I would simply buy foods that have thick skin, like oranges or melons. I would buy them non-organic. But then the fruits that you really want to watch out for when buying non-organic that you shouldn't are things like cherries or grapes or berries or greens, fruits that don't really have a thick skin around them that you're gonna eat whole, you know. So for those foods, if you can't find them organic and you still want to eat them, I would recommend buying a fruit and veggie wash that would wash away the pesticides. And they sell them usually at any supermarket in the produce section or in the grocery section, or you can get it online. But then at the same time, here's the thing. Some people have neurological weaknesses, meaning if I look at someone's case, right, and they have a lot of nerve rings, they have an adrenal weakness, like we said before, they may have drug deposits, or they may have a past of being exposed to a lot of neurotoxins like heavy metals or vaccinations, or you know, things of that nature. These are people that we consistently see do very bad when introducing non-organic foods into their diet. And they may feel like they have even trouble breathing in some cases, because breathing, you know, that's an autonomic nervous system response. So those with weak nervous systems, if you introduce something that's a neurotoxin, which is a pesticide, then that can affect the nervous system and then can affect automatic responses in the body. So they can feel extremely fatigued, or they can feel depressed, or they can have trouble breathing, things like that. So you want to be careful with that. If you're someone with those weaknesses, you definitely want to buy all your foods organic, or you want to make sure that you don't eat anything that has pesticides on it, because that can create a bad reaction in your body. But at the same time, you just want to go after that weakness if you do. So you want to always be on the brain and nerve formula to strengthen your nervous system. You always want to be focusing on astringent fruits like oranges, you know, powerful citrus foods, powerful grapes, you know, things that move the lymph system aggressively in order to clean out any lymphatic stagnation that may be impairing nerve flow in your body as well. And you know, focusing on organic berries is important to recharge the nervous system and the adrenal glands, but just do the best you can. If there is an abundance of one particular fruit, then eat that fruit as much as possible. Like I said, you could actually find a list online that has, it's called the Dirty Dozen list. And those are the fruits that are just fruits and vegetables that are just riddled with too many pesticides. So those are the ones that I would avoid or buy organic. And yeah, I know it's really unfortunate, but like I said before, people have lived in regions where there was no organic fruits and they still healed, even with non-organic fruits. That's how powerful fruits are, and that just goes to show us how weak our generation is, because we've moved away from the natural foods for our species, the fruit diet, for so long that the introduction of fruits has a powerful effect on our bodies, that we immediately start expelling waste from our body and immediately start feeling better. So, you know, that just shows us the power of the fruit diet. So yeah, that was a really great question. Thank you so much. Okay, next question, guys. Number 6, can you detox while breastfeeding? Okay, so with this question, I would definitely suggest not going into deep levels of detox while breastfeeding. So not doing things like monofruit fasting or juice fasting or dry fasting, things like that. That can be pretty intense. With breastfeeding, you have to realize that that's like another channel of elimination that opens up when you're breastfeeding. So just like the colon, just like, you know, urinating, just like your mouth, your ears, your nose, any opening in the body will use that chance to start expelling waste if you're in deep detox, right? And this can become problematic if you're breastfeeding, because, you know, acids and toxins can start coming out through the breast milk, and then you don't want to be feeding those toxins to your baby, right? So this is why I recommend taking a lighter approach when breastfeeding. So you can still eat raw, you know, you can still have your fruits, your veggies, your avocados, things like that. Take like a more lighter approach to detox when breastfeeding, and then you can do it that way. Now, if it's a mother that needs to detox, absolutely, like let's say she has a serious health condition like a cancer or like a chronic illness, you know, then there's really like no time to waste in that situation. So that's when I would say you must go as deep into your detox as possible, and then you would want to wean the baby off the breast milk and substitute it for another type of milk. Now, for the first few months of life, I would recommend just getting your body as healthy as possible with the raw diet, with just, you know, like a really good fruit-based raw diet, and continue breastfeeding your child. But then after like the 6-month mark period, 8-month mark period, you can start weaning your baby off of the breast milk, and at that age they can start eating fruits. They can start eating things like grapes and berries and citrus and, you know, apples, you know, like little chopped pieces of fruit or like blended fruit, and go that way. You can also make them fresh coconut milks, fresh milks like that, fresh nut milks. I would go more so the coconut route, or give them avocados for healthy fats. But when it comes to babies, you have to realize that breast milk is mostly simple sugars. It's mostly carbohydrates. A lot of people think that breast milk contains a lot of proteins or a lot of fats. In actuality, it mostly contains simple sugars for brain and nerve growth for the baby. So I find that to be quite interesting. Now, I do notice that a lot of the times in mothers that haven't detoxed themselves, the breast milk can be congestive to the baby. So this is why we see a lot of babies like with rashes, with skin issues, with, you know, cradle caps, with things like that going on. And that can be pretty unfortunate because, you know, it's because of the breast milk. It's too congestive. It's not coming from a detoxed body. So this is why it's very important for you know, women to detox their bodies and men to detox their bodies before conceiving and bringing a child into this world, to create, you know, strong genes for your baby, to give them the healthiest body possible, but at the same time to prep your body for pregnancy and prep your body for you know, giving milk and providing nutrition for your baby. That's really important. Same thing when it comes to pregnancy. When you're pregnant with a baby, I wouldn't recommend deep fasting either. Nature tends to actually, when you're detoxing all the time, nature tends to show you your weaknesses. Nature also, like, just in general, tends to get rid of weaknesses. You typically also see this in the eyes. When I'm examining someone's eyes, if someone has a weakness, like a big black lacuna, you always see it like gradually becoming closed off, and, you know, like it's no longer becomes an open lacuna, it starts closing. If the body doesn't, you know, it is not cleansing, and if you're not taking care of the situation, it closes it off and kills it to try and get rid of that weakness, you know, to help it die off. Now, that's what nature does. Nature actually always favors the strong over the weak, and this is why, you know, species have been able to continue their lineage. That's why, you know, that's just how life is. So when it comes to that, that's why I don't recommend you going to deep detox when you're pregnant, because there is a slight chance that, you know, if you have, like, if you're bringing a weak baby into the world, then, you know, you could miscarry if the body isn't strong enough, you know. So that's just like always a possibility, right? And then we also see this even without people detoxing. We still see this because so many women have female reproductive issues. Their uteruses are all congested, degenerative, their ovaries aren't good. Like, you know, the whole female reproductive system is a big thing in today's day and age of severe weaknesses. And I get women all the time telling me that they've had trouble conceiving in the past, or they've miscarried, and you always see those weaknesses in their symptoms and in their eyes. So yeah, that's how I would go about that. I always recommend, like I said before, if you're dealing with something pretty chronic that you want to heal, then, you know, when you can, try to wean your baby off and give them coconut milk and start feeding them fruits, because babies can actually eat those and respond very well to them, even at an early age. And then they'll grow up to be very intelligent, very self-aware. They'll grow up to be calm, peaceful babies, not throw fits, you know. It's acidosis and congestion that actually makes babies, like, you know, have those terrible twos and, you know, terrible toddler years. But if you introduce the right diet, then the mental awareness is there. Then the emotions are nice and calm, and it's really all about the diet. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Oh, I do want to also touch up on this. There are certain herbs that you wouldn't want to take while you're pregnant, or like while you're breastfeeding. So lymphatic herbs, you kind of want to stay away from those since they're really strong, but you want to focus more on like building herbs. So like things like the superfood blend would be really good, and also a parathyroid formula would also be really good, because after pregnancy, after giving birth, people tend to be really low in calcium and have a low like parathyroid function. So I would recommend parathyroid formula and the superfood blend to strengthen the parathyroid gland, because postpartum depression is very common after giving birth, and the parathyroid gland will strengthen that and not make that an issue. And then the superfood blend contains a lot of beautiful fruits and berries and kelps and herbs that have a lot of calcium nutrition in them, so that'll strengthen that gland and then, you know, help repair things. So depression will be a thing of the past. Hair loss, you know, spider veins, varicose veins, prolapsings, all those will be corrected if you you know, incorporate those particular herbs into your detox. A really good question, thank you. Whew. Okay guys, next question, number 8. Is it normal to shake while detoxing? I feel shaky. So people should not be shaking during their detox. If it's very problematic, you most likely have either low blood pressure issues or low blood sugar issues. In these cases, you can do either one or two things. You're either detoxing too fast and you need to balance out a little more with like certain greens and vegetables. Like if you're 100% fruit right now and you're shaking, try to balance out and bring in more vegetables, and then slowly go into the realms of fruits and fasting by eliminating them gradually. But I do see shakiness being an issue if people go hardcore too fast, right? That's the first way. But the second thing that I wanted to bring up with shakiness is people with low blood pressure and low blood sugar. If you're not eating enough during the day, like frequency wise, then your blood sugar can get too low, and then that's when you can feel shaky, or your blood pressure can get too low and that's when you can feel shaky. So in these situations, I would recommend taking a look at your blood pressure. If it's really low, like below 120, but like extremely low, like 90s or low hundreds or even 80s, I've seen that before, you want to take some licorice root and an adrenal formula, and then that'll help with the shakiness. The second thing could also be, it could be a detox symptom. Sometimes people are shaky and get tremors as like toxins are escaping their body, like acids or neurotoxins, things like that. So that can also be a possibility. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, and the other thing is just eating more frequently to keep your blood sugar up, just consistently throughout the day. And yeah, that's what I would do if you have shakiness. I don't really know what else to say, because like I said before, I would definitely need your case. And if any of you guys out there have serious health issues and need guidance, definitely come to me and I can help you heal all these things. I have a lot of experience through being a detox specialist. I've helped many people heal, and I pride myself in everything that I do and everything that I've learned. If you guys are interested in working with me, you can go to spirittropicalhealing.com, and then yeah, we can set up a consultation and get you started on your healing journey. Okay, this is the last question, guys. Okay, question number 9. Would you ever suggest someone to take the GI Broom twice a day if they were eager to dig deep into their detox? I'm currently eating all fruit, no bananas, no dates, or fruits that will slow down the detox, only high water fruits. Awesome. That's what I like to see, is high water fruits. Yeah, start to leave behind the bananas and dates once you reach that level. But GI Broom twice a day, it's in my experience that taking the GI Broom twice a day doesn't really do much at moving or eliminating mucoid plaque more. In most cases. I've only ever seen it a handful of times. where someone was like extremely malabsorbed, and I recommended them taking it twice a day to start seeing more mucus come out. But oftentimes it actually just you know, constipates people, or sometimes it doesn't really make too much of a difference. So I would just say experiment with that and see how you feel and see what results come up, you know, if you start releasing more mucus, because the most important thing is to be patient. With the GI Broom, it can take a few months to start seeing mucoid plaque come out. I don't know how long you've been on the diet, but it does sound like you are very focused on hydration, which is great. Sometimes it takes the body many months to hydrate with the astringent fruits to start loosening up the mucus in the body so that the GI Broom can go in there and take the mucus out. So yeah, I personally had a lot of colon issues when detoxing my body, and that, you know, that was a major issue that I wanted to heal. And I did not find that taking the GI Broom twice a day did much of anything at all. It had very little effect. It's kind of a waste of money if you take it twice a day, like I said before. So I would just recommend taking it once a day and keep on doing that, and take the stomach and bowel formula. Keep on eating astringent fruits like oranges and grapes. Those are going to be really great for loosening up mucus, and then start seeing that mucoid plaque come out. And then just be patient, because with time everything will just go and everything will just come out. Sulfur, parasites, and mucus, all that good stuff. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to try and do another video very soon to answer the rest of the questions. If I haven't reached your question yet, please be patient. Know that I will answer and get to all your questions. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I hope you guys are doing great in your detox. And never forget, don't neglect other areas in which you could be introducing into your detox to help further your healing, like what we mentioned in this video, doing ear candling or neurolymphatic massage. Saunas are really excellent, you know, things like that. If you go to my website, I do have a lot of articles and resources on there where I talk about all these different tools that you could be doing to enhance your detox process, so you can cut your healing time in half. You know, it's all about opening up all those channels, and elimination. Elimination is key. Hydration is key in order to heal the body from disease into wellness, okay? So I love you all very much, and until next time, take care. Bye.